Hi, I'm Shani Hugo-Wurlitzer, and I'm with the lovely Alexandra Pope, my fellow co-founder of Red School. We're talking today about menopause, and in particular, some of the things that women experience when they're negotiating this transition, because so often we have things going on that we don't necessarily associate with menopause. So we just want to put that in context a little bit for you. So Alexandra, you want to share a little bit about what some of the things are that women experience when they're going through menopause?
Yes, there's a kind of a variety of stuff, and not all women will experience everything. I really want to emphasize that. But some of the classic things that come up for women. And one is that women actually feel a little bit like they're going mad. They just feel like all the normal reference points of their life are just falling away. They emotionally are very up and down. And women at the end of my workshop come to me and say, I no longer feel like I am going mad. This is meaningful, because I put it in context. So a feeling of going mad, and I'll come back to that in a moment, and a feeling of kind of disinterest in things, like sort of separating from things. And I was, losing interest. Your children you adore, but suddenly it's like, you could just leave home now. I know you're not fully grown yet, but I need you to go now. I need space. It's like, I'm just not interested in you at the moment. Or it might be just your work doesn't float your boat anymore. Really, suddenly the shine goes off things, and you're not sure really what it is yet. And the other classic thing that I talk about is the burn the house moment. And I'm going to come to each of those. So this emotional lability has everything to do with that first phase of menopause, which is about the death process. And you go into an intensely vulnerable place, and it is entirely normal. But you are shedding identities, because you're going to shed identities to then take on your true identity at the end of the process. So there is this vulnerability, and so you're vulnerable not only to everything around you in the world, which you're then affected by, but also vulnerable to things inside yourself that you have perhaps suppressed that are coming up. So there may be a lot of emotion, a lot of memory coming up, and even unresolved trauma that starts to show itself. But actually, to be honest, at the root of it all often is that we're not acknowledging we're stepping into menopause, and we're expecting ourselves to push on in the way we used to push on. And you're needing a lot more space and time now. So if you're feeling reactive and cranky, and then one minute you're crying, the next minute you're angry, it's clearly a sign that you're in that first phase of menopause, which is about separating from the world, and you need space and time. And the moment you get that space and time for yourself, a lot of that reactivity falls away. And you also have no tolerance for other people in this, or not no, but you have less tolerance for others, because actually you're needing to care for yourself, and others' demands become irritants because they're asking something of you, and you have nothing to give at this point.
Yeah. So this is very, very similar to the premenstrual time, because what you're describing is what I experience every month premenstrually. So yeah.
Exactly, Shani. That's such a good point. So really look to what is happening premenstrually for you now to get the heads up on what might occur. And really the remedy is just slowing down and recognizing, naming, gosh, I'm in this first part of menopause and I need to retreat because I've got to be with myself. And then enter stage left comes this, what I call burn the house moment, where you suddenly get a thought about something in your life that's a really radical thought, that's really urgent, and it's like it's got to happen now. And that's why I always think of one woman who woke up one morning and went, I've got to leave my job. I've just got to leave my job. And she goes in that day and she puts in her notice, because it's so uncompromising. You are not going to compromise yourself anymore. But the trouble is that you've also got to take care of the realities of your life. So if you're going to burn the house, just make sure you've got alternate plans. So if you're going to hand your notice in, have some savings. Make sure there is savings, or that there's another thing you're moving towards. So my classic thing, my burn the house moment was, I have to leave Australia. And I had no contacts in the UK. I had to be self-employed, because I was going to follow my calling of menstruality. And I took my time. It took me 7 years to actually make the move, but I knew I was going to do it. And I was always canny around savings, but I was really super canny about my savings then, because I knew I would go into a hiatus for a period of time when I abandoned the country, because I was then abandoning my work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, burn the house is this radical moment of just wanting to cut with something very strongly, because it's over, it's done with, and it is uncompromising, and you can't argue with it. But you've also got to take care of yourself. So you have to hold the tension on that decision, and whilst not abandoning it and preparing for the new. So, how are we doing here, Shani?
This is really good, because these experiences, when you describe them, are all quite strong experiences that, out of context, could make us feel like we're going crazy. We've lost the plot. What the heck is going on? But actually, you've already put it in context for us. You've already said this is actually the first phase of menopause. There's used the word separation, separating from who we used to be, separating from the stuff of our life that is no longer us, whatever the case might be. So that's really useful, and immediately that kind of takes the sting out of something. It helps us to see that there is a deeper process at work. That's really, really useful. Dignifies it.
Absolutely signifies it. I really emphasize this to women, that if this is happening for you, and it doesn't happen for all women in quite the same way or with the same intensity, because it's always a reflection of your life, and each of our lives are different, and our nature, our character. So yes, it's dignifying it, and it gives it meaning, and you go, oh, right, yes, that's right. I'm a bit all over the place. I feel hopelessly vulnerable now. And like I kind of don't know what I'm doing. It's almost like you kind of momentarily lose the plot.
Yeah.
Midstream. And it isn't that you're going senile. Absolutely, categorically not. It is the death moment, and you're in the unknown. And you need time to negotiate landing in that unknown. And in that unknown phase, it isn't all madness. It can be quite ecstatic and full of potential and possibility and excitement. It's like a freedom is starting to court you at this moment.
Yes.
But you're not grounded enough. You're not collected enough. You're not aware enough. And you've got some business to go through, inner business, to really be aligned with that freedom.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, we are really into shifting this old story about about experiencing a drama in menopause, and instead experiencing it as a dignifying process and reclaiming the power of this process. So if that's something you want to learn more about, please come and check out our mini menopause course that we have for you online, where we will be sharing more thoughts, ideas, practical ways that you can start to negotiate menopause in a way that feels good and really empowering. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you so much, Alexandra, for sharing those examples and helping us all to feel just a little more normal, even in our abnormalities and crazinesses. Thank you.
You're welcome.